I mean, look at my terrible lighting. So you look like you're glowing, and I look like I'm in a potato.
I just have an overhead, which I hate, an overhead light on, but
I feel like
I'm
it's
dealing.
illuminating you beautifully, like exquisitely.
It's hitting my forehead, all the remaining sunscreen on my forehead
Yeah,
just right.
your beauty of Joseon is just beaming.
It's like
I just went to
exactly.
my last beauty of Joseon tube, and I don't really know what comes next.
Oh God,
I have like
Mara,
a different one that I'm using right now, but
we're in dire times.
I know. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world, including horrible tariffs and all that. But really, my biggest gripe at the moment is this FDA crackdown on Korean sunscreen. That's
It's
my worst.
awful. Hello. No,
Oh,
like this is like truly like there are many things that are impacting our day-to-day life, and this is one of them. We
it
need
truly
our Korean sunscreen.
need it. I mean, and you know what? Well, yeah, we're not monetized. I'll say it in the first 5 minutes. It's racist. Because you
Yes.
know what Korean sunscreen is particularly good at? Not making people with darker skin look ashy. Compared to our janky 1980s filters here in the US that make anybody darker than khaki on the Sherwin-Williams color palette look ashy. Like, give us back our Korean sunscreen.
It's so true. And I'm like, y'all are haters. Y'all should have updated this years ago. It's not our fault y'all are behind.
I don't know if I felt that we're so behind.
Oh, it's just hater behavior. I think right at the beginning of January, I ordered like 5 bottles.
You see, you had
I'm like, that doesn't last forever.
I know. It's not shelf stable for 4 years, so I don't know. Well, and actually, I don't even know this is related to what's his face. Like, I think they were just doing this anyway.
Yeah, that, but then yeah. So I don't know if that's related. I don't know. But then, if it wasn't, then they might be highly tariffed, like the price just might go up. But I mean, that's going to affect American brands too, because most of them get their packaging at the bare minimum from other countries. A lot of them don't even get there. Some of them, I was watching a video by my Charlotte. I love her. The founder of Dew. And she was talking about how some companies don't even own like their formulas. Like some of them are owned by overseas countries. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting because, like, I work for corporate overlords and, like, they're working double time figuring out what they're going to do to get around it all. So, like, I'm sure people will come up with solutions, but it's going to be, like, horrible for small businesses, horrible for end consumers. Like, it's going to be just.
Yes.
And really asking, great point. No. Not somebody who's concerned about this the way that we are.
0 days. Yeah. For small, I just like, well, apparently all of them are on a 90-day pause except China.
Yeah, there's just a pissing match going on there.
And this is why I eat dessert every day, because why not?
This is why. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
wish
real.
I could say that we're about to talk about less depressing things, but we are definitively not talking about.
No, just different. Not less depressing, just different. For a long time. Yes, because in the in the event that we do get a fair election in 2028, that would still be a lot to repair.
Well, and who are we running? Who's running? Who are you? I mean, the answer is
probably.
But who are we excited to vote for in 2028? If it's
nobody, you know who's probably going to run is what's that governor of California? He seems like he's trying to shape up to run in 2028. What is his name?
Booker?
No.
With his filibuster thing?
No, not him. I forgot what the governor of California's name is.
Oh, Newsom?
Yeah, that mug. But like, who would I be excited to vote for? Nobody.
AOC would be the only one I'm like,
Yeah,
I'd have a little spring in my
like
step going to the poll.
Bernie,
Bernie
retire, bro.
may not be with us.
No, he
half,
might not.
half the people we're talking about we don't know if they'll be with us by the time.
Honestly,
because we are living in a geriatric.
Significant portion of our government, including like senators and stuff, are geriatric. Like
we don't know if they're going to be here.
Yes,
I will say I wouldn't necessarily agree with him on everything, but he reminds me so much of my dad that I would be excited about voting for him because it would.
I love Hope Waltz. I get a lot of her TikToks, and I just love her. Yeah, and by extension, her dad. So I would take that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you have a podcast? You're a governor. Shouldn't you be working?
Oh my gosh, Beth, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, Rashida. Yeah, that's
Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah.
The amount of visas that have been canceled. Oh, where are they from?
GlassesUSA.com. Not sponsored. I was in the past, but I just liked it, so I got new ones. I ordered these, and they were here 5 days later, and I was very impressed.
That reminds me because I got a prescription and I need to get some glasses, so I'm gonna do that.
I realized I had not had new glasses in 5 years, and I needed to have a little adjustment. So anyway, sorry. Back to the topic. Raggedy.
Under 60. Wouldn't that be nice?
Anybody.
I forgot what I was gonna say about. Yeah, just so many of our government so old. I'm like,
yeah,
who's that?
He's the governor of Kentucky, and I would say I'd be decently. I would be. Well, and again, to Cantwell's point, really anybody who's like an adult, a competent person, who I'm not worried about surviving 4 years, I'd be more excited than I am now. So, but Bashir, I think, is a good choice in the sense of he's a blue governor, red state, knows how to do some of that. It seems like a real one, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Also, we currently have 69 viewers, and anytime I see 69, I think, nice. So, best number. Oh, now it's gone up, but we still love you, whoever just joined and ruined that perfect number.
So glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, especially the ones who've been there so long. I'm like, you have money. So many people want to be able to retire. You have that ability, and yet you just want to keep your little claws on any kind of piece of power till you die.
This is how you know they're all sociopaths, because everyone I know who had that much money would be kicking it.
Yes. It'd be like, goodbye. You've got family, grandkids. You can afford to go sit on your porch and be a mima first and foremost. And yet you're like, no, I'm going to stay here.
Boy, I would have a sun hat. It would be glorious. Also, Angela, I will accept you ruining the number. So,
Angela,
it's worth it.
Just kidding. Hey, Angela.
Well, tonight, as I said, we're not talking about fun things, but we're talking about updates on Lori Vallow Daybell, because I've been watching, and I
need to know.
I'm going to catch us up. And I think if we have time, we'll also talk about the resilient Jenkinses. And so, because those are our topics, content warning up at the top. This episode is nothing but people being awful to children. So if you don't want to hear about that, I certainly understand it. And now is your time to exit, because these people, as the title suggests, do not deserve to have kids. Nope. Yeah. So do you want me to just dive on into Lori?
Yes, catch me up on that person.
Okay. Last we left off on this podcast, I went back and checked today when I was on my lunch break. She had not yet been convicted of killing her children and her lover's wife at that time. But she was. So that is excellent news. Because she was guilty of sin, and well, not just in my opinion, by the law, she was very.
They said guilty, all of it.
But so she is a convicted now child murderer of her own children, and she, the TLDR in the background for this one is, oh God, how to even summarize? She
There's a lot.
She came out of the LDS faith, but I think it's fair to say was always kind of drawn to sort of like apocalypticism and like prepper stuff into the world, doomsday, whatever. She was a troubled person. I mean, she was already on her fourth husband by the time all this went down. Like a lot of, and we'll talk about some of the updates we found out about their background. But like she already had some problems, but she got very fixated on this author named Chad Daybell who was writing these basically LDS apocalyptic fanfic that he then tried to start saying were prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
It was giving very Left Behind. It was giving very Hunger Games, but Jesus style. Like Jesus is running the games. I don't know. And she fell in love with him. And when I tell you this man looked like a potato, I'm not trying to shame him in the sense of like,
and that's a disservice to a potato.
People look how they look. And I think most people are attractive based on their personalities versus their actual physical appearance. If he had a good personality, he'd be totally normal looking, but he is the blandest. Like, if you're thinking that she went to somebody who was like super charismatic and like sexy, like no, this man, I think her son called him Peter Griffin from Family Guy, and that is the vibe. Like,
but less personality.
With so bland. He does vanilla a disservice because vanilla has flavor and it's good.
He's just unflavored. Unflavored, unscented.
And she was married. Her fourth husband was like a good-looking, successful businessman who had converted to the LDS faith for her. And she started cheating on him with Chad, he was like, "You're my goddess. We were married at if you can stand to not die of the cringe, please go listen to somebody doing a dramatic reading of their text chain where he tells her a lightly fictionalized version of the days when they were meeting each other, because it is like my whole body. It was like he's describing the first time they made out, and he's like, that was when he realized that she truly had the body of a goddess.
Got the body of a goddess.
Oh my gosh, Kathleen, exactly. He's the brat diet of humans, both physically and mentally. Exactly. It's like he is designed to be gentle on your upset tummy.
And yet he still upsets mine.
Yeah, Charles is like former like minor league baseball. Like he was a catch, and somehow she left him for Chad because she was convinced that they had been married in like a past life. It was a whole thing. So anyway, so this starts a killing spree that they both go on together. First, she and her brother, we won't even get into that, kill her husband Charles. That's what she is currently on trial for. I guess that's technically allegedly, but she says it's self-defense, so she admits she was there and a part of it, but she says it was self-defense. Then they moved to Idaho, and she killed both of her minor children, one of whom was a special needs little boy who was like 7, and her daughter Tylee, who was like 16, I think. So, murder them, and then Chad and her brother killed Chad's wife, Tammy, so that then Lori and Chad could get married and run off to Hawaii, which they did within like 2 weeks of his wife's funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, he was really broken up, you know? And remind me, Chad already had his trial, right?
Yes, he was also convicted, and he's getting the death penalty.
Oh, forgot about that.
She escaped the death penalty because the state messed up some filing stuff, and her counsel insisted on a speedy trial. So they waived the death penalty eligibility for her, which is I'm pretty sure the only reason she did not get the death penalty.
Yeah. And so now she's in Arizona for her brother. For Charles or for Alex?
For her fourth husband, who she murdered. Though, to Caroline's point, the brother who was like the family hitman died of natural causes, but literally nobody. Literally no one thinks it was natural. Like, if you look at the timing and the circumstances, I think that it just is not detectable, whatever they did, because there's just no way.
I don't believe it.
No.
What a piece of work, man. Yeah. I can't believe it's 2025 and this is still going on, because I remember hearing, did they get married in 2019? Because I remember
all of this started in 2019.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about them being in Hawaii and their children being missing, and her being like, I'm not answering any questions. And they're like, well, you need to present the children. Holy crap.
Yeah. It does sound like an absolutely bananas novel. And yes, the autopsy ruled it was a pulmonary embolism, but like, there's so many ways to cause someone to have a pulmonary embolism that are not detectable. So like, yes. Okay. So this is one of the updates, is that she fired her legal team in Arizona and is representing herself. So we have another Daryl Brooks, another Sarah Boone. We have got wackadoodle person representing themselves.
I wish I had a shred of their confidence. That's insane. Like, I watched, this is not to get off top, but I watched Natalie's video of Daryl Books, and it's even watching that more crazy that he's firing his counsel. Did you hear what I said?
Yep.
Did you, Mr. Brooks, why was he doing that the whole time?
Yeah. I don't know. I made it seem like he was like trying to hold himself back from like yelling at her or something. I don't know what was going on.
That judge has so much patience, but I'm like, you are nuts. Especially the person who was representing him seemed so qualified, and the person appeals, which Natalie was saying, are so much more work and more like filing and deadlines
and very like procedural. Yeah, his his public defender assigned appeals lawyer is at the firm that got Kyle Rittenhouse off,
which is crazy. Yeah, I'm like, you usually don't end up with that as a public defender.
I mean,
and you want to say, and he kept being like, no problem, no disagreement. Then why?
Well, I think Natalie nailed it. I think it must be that lawyer could not find anything that was appealable. And so the only way he can continue is representing himself.
Yeah.
Which is actually nice logic. I mean, that's like,
who being like, we'll give you the terabytes of information, but I'm like, what are you going to do if you don't have a law library?
But then it turned out he did. He has Westlaw. So he's just
he has access to that. I was like, I know LexisNexis. Yes. Judge Giroux. Is it Giroux?
I think it's Giroux.
Giroux. Yeah. Judge Canoni can suck it. But Judge Giroux is a good judge.
Judge Giroux, and then Judge Kranick in the Sarah Boone case. This new Judge Berinsky on Lori Vallow. All of them, I feel like we need to make like a little shrine to like the most patient judges in the world, who are like
actually aspired to be.
Yes, they're defending that defendant's rights. They are preserving their rights, which I admire, because that's what the judge should be doing. And so
they want as an accurate as possible case. They don't want slip ups. They want a good record.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, her patience with that man unmatched.
Uh, she would literally even start to yell at him and be like, you know what? We're gonna take a moment and go to lunch. And I'm like,
I'm gonna step outside.
I was like, you just gentle parented yourself, and I could learn from that.
She's like, you know what? I am having a Snickers moment. I am hungry. I'm gonna go outside.
You know what? I may just be a little hangry right now, so I'm gonna take a second, gather myself, and then come back.
I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna get myself some juice.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord, yeah, so why is she? So the trial has started.
Okay, so the trial starts. Let me catch you up on the trial part of it. So she, if you will recall, part of why this has taken so long is that when she was in Idaho, she was found incompetent to stand trial multiple times. And when I tell you the bar for competence to stand trial is in hell, it is like, are you aware that we are all human people talking to each other right now? Like, it's not like, are you smart? It's not, are you like understanding all the legal proceedings? It's literally
how many
like,
fingers do I have held up?
Good. But honestly, it is like bare minimum. And she was found incompetent multiple times. So you can become competent through treatment, which is what happened. So like she would spend time in institutions, and she eventually got to the point where they were like, okay, you're aware that we are all human people sitting here in the room together. You are now competent to stand trial. So she goes from that to now, when she had in Arizona, she decided she wanted to fire her lawyers, and I believe ultimately, now that we've watched more of this, really, I think the reason that she wanted to represent herself is that she is very fixated on having the speedy trial. So I think her lawyers, A, were not going to pursue the theory of the case that she wanted, and B, were going to ask for continuances. And she did not want to do that. Like, she is hyper fixated on the speedy trial.
Over. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's because in Idaho, it worked in her favor, and is the reason why she is not on death row, was the speedy trial violations. So I think in her mind, she thinks it's some sort of like, gotcha.
Do you know, is death row up for, or what are her charges she's facing in Arizona?
She's she doesn't have first degree murder. She has conspiracy to commit first degree murder. And I am not clear yet if those carry the same penalties or not. So I don't know if she'll be death row. I don't know if she'll be death penalty eligible.
I understand them wanting to try her for every crime that she's committed, but like, she still gotta, even if for some reason this was like dropped or something, she's still gotta go back to Idaho.
Which is it's an interesting trial viewing experience, because the stakes don't feel as high. Like, you know,
are there cameras in this one?
Yeah, we've got cameras. It is on 30-minute delay, and it's on Pacific time, so it's like 2.5 hours behind. So like, they probably are just starting to wrap for the day. Today's day 3. But so it's interesting that she went from being so mentally unwell she could literally not stand trial for multiple rounds,
defending herself,
to now she's defending herself. So that makes me, and this I'm going to interrogate my friend when she's here next week. She's a psychologist, of like, what's going on there? Do you think that that means she was malingering? Do you think that that means that they misdiagnosed her? Or like, is it possible to go from being that mentally unwell?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to say she's doing a great job, but she's cogent. Like, she's doing better than I would have guessed she could do, especially for someone who used to be incompetent to stand trial.
Okay, we had to rate it. Who's better, her or Daryl Brooks?
Oh, she's leagues better than Daryl Brooks. Okay. She gets sassy with the judge. She gets snappy, but yeah, she's not defiant the way he was. Her questions are not good, but they at least are like, vaguely, they make sense. Like, yeah, she sometimes makes good points. Like, sometimes she asks questions that I have, and I'm like, okay,
yeah. Okay, girl. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, so it's interesting in terms of just like how big of a difference there is in her presentation. Because also, I don't think we talked about her statement when she got sentenced in Idaho. Remember that wild statement she made about like how Jesus knows that Tylee wasn't murdered and Tammy's her friend and they're all very
Yes.
busy. She's got these people running around heaven being busy.
Yeah. Why are they working overtime up there?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And this is a good question. I don't know if maybe there's different competency standards. She might have just had an episode, but like I don't know, like I just find it hard to believe you could lose your touch with reality that profoundly and then
You
bounce
think she
back
was
so
acting
that's
before Idaho to like
kind of what
try to like, okay, maybe I will get off with, insanity or something.
that's kind of what I'm wondering now. But Idaho doesn't have you can't
Oh, they
enter
don't
it
have the insanity
fully.
plea. Hmm.
Maybe she didn't understand that fully. I don't know. I completely agree with this.
I'd be like, no, thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I came to rest.
Yeah. And this is interesting too. Yeah. So the judge did a competency hearing with her about like, that colloquy that the judges have to do if you want to be pro se to see if you understand.
Yeah.
Um, so like that was a wild hearing and like she was very oppositional with her attorneys that she was firing. Like she really clearly has a problem with them. Um, this is interesting. They could pursue the death penalty based on her previous violent crimes, but not just on the conspiracy alone. That's interesting. And I wonder if she technically didn't have violent crimes at the time this crime was committed.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they couldn't pursue the death penalty because they came after. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Assuming she is convicted, which most pro se litigants are, aside from the fact that like, okay, so let's get into the actual what we're finding out in the trial. So it's so much worse than I realized, the Charles situation. And it was already bad. Like this poor man was the last line of defense for these kids and was trying so hard to get Lori help and to take care of the kids. It's so sad. The more we see about things that are coming out, the more I'm just like, this poor man. Like nobody was listening to him, and like these kids would still be with us if somebody had listened to Charles. It is so tragic.
Was he one that they said was like dark or something, or they had a name for him?
He was Ned Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cast out Ned Schneider, and then it was, I think, Hippolos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about that in the summary. One of the strange beliefs is they think people are zombies or Z's, as they would refer to them in some of the text messages.
Because like, did they say that about the kids too? Like they have so much light or darkness in them.
Yes. And once you become too dark, the only thing that can help you is to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rational things going on here. Mm-hmm.
Very normal, very chill beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten fully into that part of things yet. They're kind of just establishing the crime itself.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hadn't realized about the way that the crime went down, and now that I like, and also why did the Arizona PD wait so long to charge her? And they should have charged Alex too, because now that I know more details, I'm like, I don't know what you guys were smoking. This is crazy. Come to find out, she found out that there's all these text messages between her and Alex. Clearly, the subtext is they're planning to kill Charles. Like that. It doesn't. I'm not gonna say it literally comes out and says that, but like that's the clear inference of what's being said. And then so Charles had rented a house for Lori back in Arizona because they agreed that JJ should go back into his school, like his special school.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles was staying in Texas at the time. So Lori finds out that Charles is flying in, and she quickly like gets this plan together. She has Alex come from his house. He lives in the same city. He spends the night at Lori's house and has his gun and an extra like entire like all this extra ammunition with him. So just imagine you are going, let's say that this was totally innocent. You're going over to spend the night at your sister's house who lives in the same town as you. That's already kind of unusual. And you bring your gun and extra ammo? Like what?
That's not normal.
That's wild.
Who brings that to a sleepover?
Yeah, with your sister and your minor niece and nephew. Okay, so I didn't know that. That's crazy. And then I knew that she had left the scene, but I didn't realize Alex waited almost an hour to call 911.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did I think? I don't know. Maybe from the tellings, I thought it was like immediate.
I'd always thought that she left immediately and he called, and so that he could call 911 and she wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But
an hour.
Yeah. And he staged the scene, allegedly. That's what the evidence seems to be suggesting. Like he went and got this bat and he put it. This was a juicy detail. This felt like a very Agatha Christie detail. He was staging the scene and he put the baseball bat that they allege Charles hit Alex with, even though Alex did not request, nor did anyone like force him to get medical attention because he seemed fine after being hit with a baseball bat by a professional baseball player in the head.
Okay.
So apparently Charles is left-handed and he put the bat on his right hand side.
In his staging.
In his bad staging.
What the? Oh my God.
So it's like we're getting lots of little details that I'm just more and more like, why were they not charged immediately with this? This is crazy.
Yeah, what were they doing? They just looked at it and they're like, yeah, this self-defense, it adds up.
I don't know, but and then like Lori, I knew that this was wild, but like when Lori comes back, she's so nonchalant. She doesn't ask like why there's police there. She doesn't ask like how's Charles or how's Alex, like assuming that you just saw your brother, because okay, let me back up. Let me tell you the story she is now telling of what happened. Whew, this gets me heated. So in general, Lori has now come out with new stories about what happened in both Arizona and Idaho. In Idaho, she is now claiming, and this,
oh God,
whoa, this gets me heated. She is now claiming that Tylee, her daughter, who she murdered, and whose body, I mean, I don't want to get too Tylee was dismembered and burned and thrown away like trash in a cemetery. Okay, that is what she did to this child. And she is now saying that Tylee is the one who killed her little brother as to quote unquote get back at Lori and then unalived herself. That is what she is now saying about this child who she murdered. It is so disgusting. Just when you think she cannot get worse, she's like, hold my beer.
What a disgusting excuse of a human.
Whew. So,
girl,
context is she is now telling this story. This is apparently what she always wanted her attorneys to say. And thank you, attorneys who went on and on.
No,
yeah, no, we clowned on you a little bit at the time for being weird, but you did a solid service by not allowing her to spew that nonsense. Like, what in the world? Jesus. Okay, so that's what she's saying. So, and now she has now found a way to make this murder Tylee's fault as well. Okay. So, according to her now, what happened is that Charles and Tylee had been fighting for months. And that these fights have been getting increasingly physical. And then on that morning, Charles came over to pick up JJ. We'll get it. Okay. Lori took his phone and wouldn't give it back, and he started yelling at her. She admits this, by the way. She's always said this, and she admits it. That's how she like lured him there and kept him there. So she's like, yeah, he started screaming at me because I wouldn't give him his phone back. Well, okay. Even if that was true, like at least somewhat understandable. And that Tylee heard him doing that. So she came out and brought a baseball bat to get him away from Lori. And that Charles took that baseball bat and was threatening to hit Tylee with it. And that's when the altercation started up and that Tylee and Lori ran out. So she is even now, she's not only blaming, you knew she was going to blame Charles. She's been blaming Charles and calling it self-defense. But now she's also blaming her child who she murdered by basically saying that Tylee started it. Whew, that got me heated. I was just like,
worthless. That's really going to be her story? Yeah. That's what you're saying, girl? Okay.
That's what she said in the opening statement. Now, here's the thing, and this is what is so sad to say out loud. There's no one left alive from that incident except for Lori. Everybody else who was there is now dead.
That is so like, oh,
I know. It's so the only way she can prove that or get that into evidence is if she testifies. And it's not clear that she's going to testify. I thought she for sure would, but she's not allowed to do a narrative. It has to be Q&A. Like she has to write out her questions and have her advisory counsel read it to her.
That's what I was going to be like. How does she do it for herself?
She's like, well, Lori,
Miss Daybell.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And I said to myself, self, and self says, yes.
So I don't think when she found that out, I could tell she was sort of like, ugh. And then in the jury selection, apparently she was asking all the jurors, like, if I don't testify, would you be able to not hold that against me in your decision? So I'm thinking she might not testify.
Being able to, like, obviously it makes sense if she's the representation, but I never thought about them being also able to question the jurors.
Yeah. So so I'm not sure she's going to testify, but that's the only way she can get that story into evidence. So she could say it in her opening statement because she said literally 72 separate times. She kept saying the evidence will show, blah, 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 blah. Apparently that's like what they teach beginner lawyers to like do in their opening statement. But the evidence may not show that. The only way the evidence could show that is if she testified, because literally no one else is there. And the forensics don't support that because, spoilers, that's not what happened. Like, the physical evidence doesn't support it. So she would have to testify. And if she testifies, then it opens the door to a lot of her other bad behavior coming in. Because as of right now, the prosecution can't tell the jury about all the shit in Idaho fully. They're only going to be able to, I think the judge said that he would probably let them say that she killed Tylee and JJ. But as of right now, the jury doesn't know that Tylee and JJ are dead. And that Lori was convicted of killing them.
Damn.
So it's an interesting dynamic watching it unfold when you think about like the jurors are watching this and they don't know what we know. And we know that everything she's doing is such BS in the context of everything that happened. But
okay, real question. And I think of this with so many cases now, why can't jurors ask questions in every state? But states' rights, whatever.
Oh yeah. I really like that, actually. I think that's a good.
Yes. Yeah. Anytime there's, especially with YouTube, with true crime, whatever, people reporting on cases as they're happening, do we think that there are truly, what do they call it, non-prejudicial or whatever juries? Like, I know not everybody, I guess everyone doesn't follow things.
I think people genuinely just don't follow it.
Yeah. I'm just like, how do you know? What if they lie?
Well, I will say one of
What
the
is it?
jurors, so they keep losing jurors because of like work commitments and stuff, but they had a juror come forward and say, "Hey, after I saw this body cam footage, I remember that somebody had shown this to me before. I didn't recognize any of
Oh.
the names beforehand, but now that I'm seeing the footage, I have seen that somewhere before." Um,
Mm.
so I think I don't know. I like to give jurors the benefit of the doubt. I feel like if you have to spend that much time there doing something, I think most people are trying to do a good job and
Yeah.
wouldn't you just say that you had heard about it if you were trying to get out of a 6-week jury duty situation?
Yeah. I know most people I know who get called for jury duty are like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do it. It's crazy what they don't pay them, or how very little they're getting to have to miss their job and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna say something else. I forgot. Opening statements are not evidence.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And if she doesn't testify, then the prosecution can go wild. So basically, she's kind of put herself in a no-win situation because if she does testify, as Cantwell says, they can just get into a lot of the stuff that right now is not going to be admitted.
Mhm.
But if she doesn't testify, then in closing, the prosecution can say, "You
Can
heard
bring it
her
up.
say that this and this and this and this was going to be shown." None of that.
We have no
The evidence
evidence.
did not show that. So
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm always like. How do people not know? But I guess
I
some
don't know.
people just don't. I always
Yeah.
have to remember that my internet ecosystems are not the world, even though I'll be like just saying something to Andrew and he'll be like, I have not heard of that or seen it. I'm like, it's
I know.
everywhere.
I know.
It's like,
I mean, even on TikTok, I'll mention like, "Oh, aren't you seeing this trend?" And someone's like,
yeah.
"No, I have no idea what
Oh,
you're talking about."
I'm
So
like, everyone is seeing what I'm seeing. So I guess that, but that's how I think too. Or just like maybe Arizona, there's more of a distance.
that's what
Um,
I'm thinking is
I
that they
feel like
may
it's
not know.
harder. Like, how are they gonna find a non-partial jury for like the Idaho those 4 students who were killed at
I
the
have
university?
no idea
Like
how
that
they're
one,
gonna
I'm
do it.
like, how do you find anyone in that area?
Well, and I will say that in Idaho, I think you're onto something about the Idaho versus Arizona for Lori because in Idaho, it took them like 2 weeks to find enough jurors, and in
Mhm.
Arizona, it only took them, like, I think 3 days. So I think some
Mhm.
people may not have really connected that
Yeah.
there was also something happening in Arizona, so maybe it just wasn't as covered there, and
We don't be on that up and up like we do, you know?
yeah, I think a
Mhm.
lot of people in Idaho have been
Yeah. 'Cause, like, I mean, how big is Idaho as a state? Not saying everybody knows everybody, but
somebody who lives in Arizona and says most
oh,
people have no idea so I think people just don't know.
okay.
To
Well,
be
that's
fair,
good.
if I got called into jury duty right now, I have no idea of any local Nashville crime that's happening right now.
That's
So,
valid. I surely don't know what's going on here too. So maybe, yeah, just hey. Um, yeah, Karen Reed, that one. Don't even
oh,
I can't
yeah,
even keep
that's
up on
also
Karen
happening
Reed.
right we're gonna
Oh, I'm so annoyed. That stupid judge.
yeah, uh,
Yes. Yeah, very
that's
true.
for the Idaho
Um,
side in particular, yeah.
yeah, if I was a juror and I couldn't take notes, I'd be like, no, we have to run that back again. Judge, I'm
Well,
so sorry.
you can't and I think in this one you can. You can I think it varies state to state if you're allowed to take notes.
Just
Yeah,
so
it's
whack.
crazy. Um Yeah, this is the thing is that they are trying him in a different venue than where he was
I think it's
arrested.
still in Idaho,
It's
which
still in
is like
Idaho, which is such a small state, and that's what they did for Lori and Chad too, because the crime took place in Rexburg, but they tried them in Boise.
Boise. Yeah.
So, I think they're doing the same thing, but it's just
Yeah.
like that's
'Cause what was it? Moscow, Idaho, which is like a small college town. So I just feel like,
yeah, like there's no way. I know, I'm so sorry to it's just so I will say so, okay, this actually oh, is there anything else from the trial I wanted to mention? I haven't seen what happened in day 3. It is getting a little spicy because now she's cross-examining witnesses that she actually has some beef with, like
oh,
today. So Charles was on a date the night before he died, and he told his date about the fact that the life insurance had been changed, and he hadn't told Lori about that yet. So she's testifying, and apparently Lori today was
ooh,
like, "Do you always date married men?" And like, whatever, which I don't think is going to go over well with the jury. So we'll see how things progress, but for now, it's still pretty early in the trial. I mean, most pro se defendants lose. I mean, most defendants lose in general. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be convicted of this. And then immediately after, because of her speedy trial rights, she's then proceeding to trial on the Brandon Boudreaux shooting.
Dang. Is that Arizona too?
That's Arizona too. So it's like back to back. Yeah.
He lived, right?
He lived, so he will be testifying. Yeah. Oh,
well,
I totally agree. This is yeah. And Nancy seemed lovely from what I could tell.
The pro se is
The other Lori updates that I wanted to talk about were the fact that she has been doing interviews. So she did one with Keith Morrison. There was a Dateline episode, and she had one of the most combative and uncomfortable interviews I've ever seen. She kept being like, Keith, you weren't there, Keith. Oh, really, Keith? I thought that you would research Keith. Like, she just kept saying his name.
Does she still have that Michelle Duggar soft woman voice?
Not when she's getting into it with Keith.
Oh, okay.
But she does, she does in front of the jury until she gets riled up and then it slips. Yeah. All you have to do is say Keith and like get catty. That's the interview.
Oh my gosh.
So she did that. And then she had earlier, I know you and I had talked about this. She had done an interview with her son.
Yes.
And I have to say, I've been watching his content around this, and I think it's really like, it's very moving to me because it's so clear. So what I've come to, you and I had kind of talked about it of like, is this like kind of attention seeking? Like what's the motivations here? And I think what the motivation is twofold. One, it's so clear how frustrated he is that people are not remembering Tylee and JJ, and that like his mom is at the front of everything. So like, I think he's wanting to try to like reclaim and recenter who Tylee and JJ were as people. It's really sweet. Sorry, I'm just getting teary even thinking about it because it's just like I don't know. In Chad's sentencing, he gave like this victim impact statement, which is one of the saddest I've ever heard. But one of the things he said was that I will never forget is, I'm sitting here today and I'm motherless, I'm fatherless, I'm sisterless, I'm brotherless. I lost everything. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's so true. Like he literally, it's so sad. And he pointed out that this has been his whole 20s because this happened when he was 22. He's 29 now. Like his whole young adulthood has been dealing with this. Like it's just so sad. So I think he wants to reclaim kind of the memory of his brother and sister. And then I also think because he is now not LDS, but like evangelical Jesus-y, I think he has a little bit of an impulse to share his journey, like his healing journey. So a lot of it is him processing, like reflecting on his childhood and like processing it basically, like, but for people to see, which is a very evangelical thing to do. So like he has been talking to Dr. John from the Hidden True Crime podcast in some videos, which I think are really good and really interesting. It's sort of like, I mean, it's not therapy because it's public, but it's like them getting into some of that kind of territory. And it's so interesting to hear him like reflecting on his childhood and like recontextualizing some things of like realizing that the dynamic was like he was the golden child and Tylee was always the scapegoat. Like he's the good kid, she's the bad kid. And he told this story, which is wild, about how he's told a lot of stories, and all of them you're just like, whoa. He's like adding a lot of layers to who Lori has always been. But two that stood out to me were, one, he told a story about how his mom, when he was 10, started telling him that she was going to die in the next 2 years. So he would like she would sit him down routinely and explain that her death date was coming and that he needed to like prepare himself for that. Which is like,
why would you do that?
Why would you? It's so abusive to your child to be like, mommy's going to be gone in a couple years. So
that is crazy. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. And then he told a story about when he was probably 9, I guess, and Kylie would have been 2 or 3. And they were in the car driving from Texas to Arizona. And when they got near the canyon areas of Arizona, or like they were driving through the mountains, I guess, she said, should we just drive off this cliff? Like, what if we just drove off?
Out loud?
Yes, she was asking the kids. And Tylee is a toddler and is like, okay, mommy, whatever you want to do. And Colby starts freaking out. And he's like, no, mom, let me out. Don't do it. Like begging her not to, like, because he realized she was serious. And she was like, oh, okay, I guess we won't. And he like, so like little nuggets like that where you're like, you know what? This didn't come out of nowhere.
Always been unwell. Like, imagine if he was younger and hadn't had that presence of mind.
Yeah.
Like those, what people, the Hart family who drove those kids off a cliff. It was like in Oregon. Do you remember that?
I don't, but that's so sad.
It was like this lesbian couple that adopted a bunch. What did they have? 4 or 5. And they were mostly Black children. And yeah, they... One of the kids went viral in a picture. They were like at a protest, and he ended up, it was like a hug. Maybe he had a sign or something with a cop, and I was like, oh my God, look. And yeah, but that just made me think of that. That is insane. She's been baddie for a long time.
Yeah. She is, I mean, we already knew she was profoundly unwell, but I think it just helps further, because I think at the beginning, do you remember the narrative was like she was the perfect mom? Like, what happened?
Yeah, and just like wasn't pageants. She was an all-American woman. She was a great mom. This just came out of nowhere.
And I always was like, there's no way that you don't go from perfect mom to child annihilator and no time flat. Like,
it's been brewing.
Yeah. And yes, we won't even get into her whole family, but like it's definitely very wild.
Oh yeah, I haven't read the book, but yep, that's the family. I had listened to a podcast and I was like, what? Yeah. It's so sad what people, not like I condone violence against adults, but to children who have, like, you're literally there, supposed to be their protector. They don't have the brain, the strength, the whatever to do things for themselves, and people just are like, yeah, me and my big adult self, I'm gonna hurt a child.
Yeah. It's our favorite, Natalie, often quotes, I forget where she got the quote from, but the word for God on every child's lip is mom or mother. And I think that's part of it. It's just like, you are God basically to children if you're their mom. Like,
yes,
you are everything to the
universe, the world, usually the person they're closest to, and you,
yeah. It's just,
oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she's so anyway, that's some of the Lori updates. Obviously the trial hasn't concluded. I will be covering it from my desk while I'm working on requirements gathering. But
God dang. I know she probably won't, but I kind of hope she testifies. She probably won't.
I think it's already kind of a circus, and I think that would, be the full big top coming out.
That would be wild. What a nutty one. Wow. These people, you terrible fucking weirdos, just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, another shady child situation that's happening before our very eyes, and nobody can do anything about it because of Oregon laws. There's Jenkins's. Jenkins?
Seems like they're I think it's Jenkins.
Just Jenkins.
Which I don't even think they're married and that's his last name, but whatever. Do what you want, girl.
Are they married?
I didn't maybe.
She refers to him as her husband, but I can't totally tell.
Yeah, when Natalie was going over, it sounded like pets had more rights, or like there were more strict pet abuse laws in Oregon than for children. It was basically like you're not selling weed in front of a child. It's fine.
What we have found from this case is that the child abuse laws in Oregon are crazy because like basically unless you're selling weed in front of a kid, you can't be charged with child neglect. Like it's insane.
Oh, they're not married because she's husband in prison. More lore. And look, I have never once watched a video from her page. I've all gotten it secondhand, which makes me glad. I don't want to give her a view.
Yeah, exactly.
But
did you people the rundown? Because I think not everybody knows this.
So there is this trend, a wider trend on TikTok of there's like two things involved in parenthood. You might say three, but two they're all trifling. But anyway. One is people who have a multitude of children who seemingly cannot afford them, living in bad situations. And the second, and sometimes these overlap, are living in deplorable conditions, like not like like they're filth, like they're not cleaning,
like the diaper thing.
Yeah, and other people who just have these super nasty houses with their kids, and people in the comments are like, "Well, if your kids are fed, you're doing great, mama." No, you have, and they usually have pets that are pooping everywhere. But the resilient Jenkins are both of these, and so she had two daughters, I think. He had a son. They got together.
Turns out multiple children, but only one that he acknowledges.
One that he has with him, yes, because he has other ones he ignores.
Yep.
And now they had a child together, and they were living. So what was that? Wait, I feel like did I say
they had five, and then I think she got pregnant with the sixth.
They have four. They have 5 or 6 kids.
Yeah.
So there were 7 of them living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And they lived in the bedroom, in the bed, had a bed, as parents, and the kids are sleeping out in like the living room, dining room on the floor on little blankets.
Yeah.
And they got cats, and there's in the house. Okay. And here's the whole thing is that neither of them are working. She has posted apparently in the past how she was basically wanting to do this to go viral, and she has, and that's basically her income. And it's like she's always making these videos, is always her doing everything. He's usually playing his video games.
Yeah, he's like a PS5 or whatever.
Yeah, the kids they look like they need new clothing or new shoes. They need bedding. They need to be in a bedroom, all of these things. And it's like, so you're not doing that. And apparently he's said he doesn't want to get a W-2 job.
Yeah.
And people are like, that's probably because he doesn't want to pay child support.
Well, that's what Natalie, I think, broke down for us was that he is essentially evading paying his child support on his.
They will take it. They will take it if you have a job. But Mara, surprise, he did get a job. Do you want to know what it is?
I did not.
He started his own TikTok. So double content creating.
Do not. He is inside. They're both terrible in different ways, but he makes me so mad. Like listening to him talk.
And she just like backs him up, like, yeah, he doesn't want to get a job when he has to work all day and his back hurts. And look,
and I will sit here is important too
all day and say like, capitalism and working and overworking. I'm like, you have children.
If you do not want to have to work a W-2 job, then you should not be having 5, 6, however many children.
Stop procreating.
Well, you have a legal responsibility to them. It doesn't like. I get it. It sucks. That's why I don't have any. Like,
yes, but I'm trying to find the age of the children, but they're younger. I mean, I think the oldest one maybe 10.
Yeah,
like they're not. Yeah, 10 to like a newborn because she's been baby wearing.
Yeah,
so she has an infant to. Yeah, and then he has at least one other child with someone else who has also come on TikTok and said that he's trifling and, you know, he's not there for the kid.
Yeah.
And
And everybody's calling CPS on them. But the laws in Oregon, they're not actually violating any laws really right now.
Mhm.
And that is insane because these children are not being cared, like, we're watching them be neglected,
Yep.
and there's nothing like, and it's not
Mhm.
that I want people's kids taken away from them. I always
Yeah.
think reunification is the goal. Even with how much I'm critical of Kevin Frankie, like, I'm glad that they found a path for those kids to be back with him because it's traumatic for families to be torn apart. Like,
Yes.
nobody wants that. But if the kids are not being cared for and their parents are refusing to do what's
Yeah.
necessary to support them, it's not safe for them to be together
And
right.
there were, in response to that, a lot of people who came on and they've posted that they have multiple children and live in a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, but those parents had their children in the bedroom. The kids had a bed. The
Yeah.
parent was out either on a mattress or on the couch. They were like, because another thing, besides them being on the floor and that
Yeah.
house not being clean and they got animals running around, is that somebody walks in the front door, the kids are right there.
Right there.
Something like, yeah, an intruder. And yeah, so she had the cats. Then they were getting evicted. They got evicted.
Yeah.
And she posted a video saying, we got 24 hours, we have to move out. Why is this man playing a video game and she's packing with an infant on her chest?
Hello.
And then she talked about like getting
by
rid of
the
their
way, her
cats.
mother wants her to bring the kids and come
Yes.
stay with her, but like,
But she does not want that man coming.
she doesn't because
she's like, I'm not going to my mother. I'm not whatever. And like,
I
obviously we don't know their
even if he
relationship,
could
but
come. She's like
yeah,
acting like she just won't go to, like, so it's not that there's no one who will help them, but like, it's
yep.
infuriating. So they got in then I think they got kicked out of that hotel, right?
Okay, I haven't seen, because the last thing I saw was them would look like one hotel room and all of their stuff in that one space. But I don't know. So I don't know if they're still in there or not. Cause I'm like, but it seems to be a trend.
Exactly. Any decent parent is their kids are not the ones sleeping in the living room.
Yeah.
Like, I know, hey, look in this economy, like, life is hard. I get that sometimes people, like, I would rather people be living in a 1-bedroom and be a united family. Like, I'm not saying that there's no reason why that can happen, but like, there's ways to do that show that you're still putting your children first. And
Yes.
everything about their lifestyle shows they are not putting their children first.
And I don't, like, again, I don't watch most of her videos. So usually I just see it and hear the voiceover. So I don't know if how much she's showing of them, because then if she's doing that, so it's just like extra exploitation.
Yeah,
But
on top of all
apparently the eldest boy, who I think is just his son before coming in, I
Yeah.
think I don't know if he had like braids or locks or something, but apparently instead of dealing with, like, it was getting really matted, they weren't taking care of it, so they just like shaved his head. And I'm like,
There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with having a shaved head, but it shouldn't be because nobody will take care of your hair.
yeah. Is that what he wanted? But it's unfortunately a thing that gets people a lot of views, because there's more people who, I saw videos. This woman said, I am a 26-year-old mother of 6.5 because she's pregnant. 26. She started at like 14 or 15. She said, like, I never had family. I had my kids because I needed them. I needed my family. Luckily, she's in a home with her now husband or whatever. Another woman, 37, 7 kids, all in a hotel room. And there's a man there. And she made a video splitting like a cup of noodles between her kids, but feeding this man steak. I'm so tired of, I'm like, why are you you choose to have these children and then you put a man above your children?
It's so
frustrating.
like,
ladies.
First of all, can I just say exactly what I was about to say, exactly what Althea just said? There is no dick in the world that is worth this. Like, what? What?
None. It is foolishness. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And then again, sometimes these overlap, but I've seen an increase in people who like just they're not cleaning their home. That 17 diaper lady pissed me off. But
Yeah.
other people, like this one lady, she's like has a hamster or a gerbil or something running around and all the poop. Or like these homes where you see kids, they're on beds. If they have a bed, a mattress is stained with no sheets on it. There's just like there's pet fecal matter everywhere. This one lady came, she was like, I was doing this and I came in the room and like her kids had gone into their diaper and smeared on the wall. I'm like, why are you leaving a little kid alone this long? But they get views and I'm like, why are y'all doing this? Why are y'all doing this?
It's insane because it's like it, yes, there needs to be a line because I do think it can get into like essentially like shaming people for being poor
Yes.
or saying that people who are poor should not be able to have children, and that is not at all the case.
Yeah.
But the thing is that there you can tell most poor people are normal, good people who put
Yes.
their kids first. Like
Even if you're
most
in
poor
a
people,
less than ideal
yes,
home or
their kids
apartment,
will
they
be
keep it
as clean
clean.
as they can keep them.
Yes.
It may not be new stuff, but it will be clean stuff. It will be
Yes.
maybe not the best food, but
People
it
make
will be enough
sacrifices for
food.
their children.
They will do what is needed to take care of a child in a reasonable way within their means. That's not what
Mm-hmm.
this is. Like
No.
this is not a, hey, we're going through some hard times, but we're doing the best we can. It's
Yeah.
a, I am systematically making choices that will continue to deprioritize my children.
Yeah, even
It's
with the
a,
Brazilian Jenkins, like Cantwell said, because they have like they either have a Cash App or something or Amazon wish list, which I think people bought out the Brazilian Jenkins like Amazon wish list, which I think had beds. I don't even think she used that stuff. I'm
no.
just like,
Well, because remember he had that weird excuse about how the kids like destroyed the beds, and so
oh
they had to
yeah,
take them away, and it
yeah,
was like, what are you talking? Like, what are your children doing to destroy a bed to the point where you can't keep them?
yeah.
That's
Like, oh well, because
if they
if
are,
that was
it's
a
because they're not
logic,
being properly supervised. So, like, maybe take your kids to the park. I
yeah,
don't.
maybe get off your game. Maybe they were for attention. I I wish I knew. I
I
want to
don't.
free my sisters. I mean, I hope, but a lot of it doesn't because a lot of these, it's not one video. They just keep posting
It's.
it. They're showing their lives. They're like, let me take you through my day. Here's our cramped living situation. I'm like, you're really putting yourself on blast here
I. I
for
mean,
content sake to go
God,
viral.
I hope that they have a secret second apartment where they are actually living. That would be the
Yeah,
best
that
case
would be
scenario.
ideal.
But
Right? Yes. I'm like, it's
you're
just
exactly. Well below the poverty line, but all 9 of us always had a mattress. The only time I didn't was when the air mattress popped and we couldn't replace it for a couple weeks.
yeah.
Exactly, because, like,
Sometimes you share a bed. I've had it,
yes,
but there's a bed, there's sheets. Like on the floor.
my grandmother had 7 children. At one point, because my grandfather was an absolute piece of shit and had run off on her again with some other lady,
Mm.
she was in a shack with no electricity, but the kids all shared the bed. She was pregnant, by the way, 6 months pregnant, and she was sneaking into people's gardens at night to steal vegetables out of them to feed her kids.
I love
So, yeah, I mean, an absolute boss. We love yeah,
it.
Nana's the best. RIP, we love you. But like that's what poor people do who give a shit about their
Yeah.
kids. Do you know what I mean? Like
It and yeah, there's like again, it's easy to slip into poor people or you shouldn't have kids or but there's differences and just like the comment about ADHD or people with depression like this but these people are just like my house I have kids so my house there's a difference
this
between
is
messy like
really
you're picking up some toys and
that's
there
exactly
being you just letting your
it.
pet shit all over the place
Yeah,
and
there's a
not
difference
cleaning
between
up.
mess and filth.
Yes.
Mess is who cares about mess?
Mess happens, clutter, you clean it up, whatever. This is not one night of dishes in the sink. This is like repeated.
Is there cat
Yes.
food literally right next to me that I have covered with a paper towel? Yes, because I had to get on live stream. But will I clean it up after this? Also, yes. Like, you know,
Uh, if only bring back shame.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Bring back. I do feel like sometimes shame would be preferable to.
Shame. Shame.
I was listening to a medieval historian the other day, and she was talking about, like, she's a prison abolitionist in the present, and she was talking about how some medieval concepts of punishment she feels like would be good alternatives to our carceral system. And I was like, I hadn't really thought about that, but that isn't like, I would rather people be stuck in the stockade for stealing something than,
Yes.
for like a
Can I
day.
throw
And
a couple tomatoes at them?
maybe
Boo!
maybe
Tomato,
we need to
tomato,
bring some
tomato.
change back. Let's leave
Yes.
jails and bring back the stockades. Maybe that would be a good solution.
I approve. Be out there. Be embarrassed of your choices. Or like, I don't know if you've watched Game of Thrones, but they had to do like a walk. Granted, I feel like she was fully naked. Maybe we don't have to do that, but they just threw like old food and trash her, and they were like, shame.
So
Shame. They were ringing the bell.
Is based on an actual historical event from one of the wives of one of the princes of England, and they did it 3 days in a row. She had to walk,
We need
and
it.
then she got sent off to a castle, never to be allowed out again.
Oh. But yeah, let's bring back some old school tactics, because these people.
Yeah. This is, there you go.
And that is very normal.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
nobody's, and I get the TikTok trends about, yeah, exactly. I get the TikTok trends about normalizing mess for parents because there is so much mom shaming.
Yes.
And like I completely
you live in your home. Even like I've had to tell myself that like I live here. It cannot always be pristine.
It's not always going to be perfect looking, and like nobody, I think that's healthy to like try to normalize imperfection basically, or like lack of architectural digest.
Yes, it does not look staged because it's not. You live there, but like
yeah, but there's a difference between like, oh, like my house is super messy right now, and like somebody could get a disease because they're going to eat the
do you have your tetanus shot? Get it before you come over. Like that's wild. That's too much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My dad used to talk about how they would get government cans like for food support stuff, and all the cans, none of them had labels on them, so they would have like lottery every night, so everybody would like pick a can of what they were going to eat. And like you were really excited if you got the hominy versus like if you got stuck with green beans or whatever. So I mean, not ideal obviously, but like
no. But yeah, I'm like, y'all please. Somebody was like, why am I on Trifling Mom TikTok? Get it off my phone. Let's outlaw. Yes, get out.
I love it. Yeah. Henry VI's uncle's wife. There you go. Really, the reason why they did it was because Henry VI's uncle was getting a little too big for his britches. Oh, I remember what it was. She went to an astrologer who told her that Henry VI was going to die and that her husband was going to become king. And Henry VI got freaked out by that, so he went and got his own astrologers who said that that was wrong, and then he said that she was a witch. And
what?
Or no, I don't think she said she was a witch. I think he said she was like, oh, maybe it was that she had bewitched his uncle, because I feel like she was his mistress and she got him to marry her, something like that. Anyway.
Sounds like a month. Yes, I agree though with bringing some of these tactics back.
Yeah.
I mean, my first thought was the guillotine, but I guess we can ease into it with the stockade first.
I'm looking for like non-violent.
Yeah, I was thinking that more for the billionaires, not the regular.
Yeah, them. I only have so many fucks to give about people's welfare, and I just don't have enough for them. But I think some non-violent, non-carceral humiliation could be a healthy way to deal with petty crimes.
Yes.
Rather than putting people in jail.
I would love to boo somebody.
Oh, would love.
Throw a tomato like, lame. Ew, you stole from that lady's shop. Loser. Boo. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hair shirts. I like that. Just get creative. We can mine the medieval period for lots of creativity of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because one of the things she was talking about, and we should wrap up, but one of the things she was talking about was because there wasn't a police force, basically it was the community's responsibility to find out who had done different crimes, like, and they owed it to the king. And if they couldn't figure out who had done something, they would have to like pay something to the crown. So it was
Mm.
like a communal responsibility to police themselves, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so things like that I'm like, "Oh, that's an interesting," like, I don't think
Yes.
you'd want it one for one, but, like, that's an interesting line of thinking of, like, it's
We
a
need
communal
something else.
responsibility.
So
Yeah.
that is something I have not heard of. But yeah, public booing. There was even just a TikTok, and it was a girl at work, and she was like looking through to the kitchen, and the guy was like, to all the other line cooks, he was like, "Boo her," and they all went boo. And it was everyone in the comments like, "I would have quit that day,"
I
and that
would've
was just like 5 people. So think of a crowd of people booing you.
I would
I
si
could work
simply
wonders.
expire from the shame.
I'd be like, "Oh my god, never again."
This feels like cruel and unusual punishment. Althea,
True.
very true. This is part of
No,
why we can't have nice things.
literally,
And
this
we
place.
just yeah. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I will say, if we had communal policing for poor Charles, he probably would have been, of justice would have been gotten for him more quickly, I feel like, than the actual police did, so
Yeah, we're moving real slow.
rest in peace, Charles. And
Kylie and JJ.
Kylie and JJ, and someone rescue those poor children.
And I forgot his wife's name. Is
Tammy, Tammy,
Tam-
that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Just so these people, you worthless bums.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone mentioned earlier, I think Mo was talking about the mom who left her 3 kids alone in a house for like 4 years, 5 years or something. And she basically just like had DoorDash deliver food to them, but the food stopped coming. Or I don't know if the food stopped coming, no, her rent payment stopped coming. So the landlord got involved. Literally, they had not gone outside for 5 years. They were just like sleeping on top of pizza boxes and stuff in the home. She was just living like 10, 15 minutes away somewhere. Just left them there. And they were like, I think they might be older now, but I feel like they were all like 7, 8, 10 maybe when she left. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a cliche, but the way you treat children and pets, and it really anyone who's doesn't have power over you, it just tells you everything about
Mm-hmm. It does.
who they are. 'Cause yeah. I wouldn't treat a stranger on the street the way that some people treat their kids. I wouldn't treat my worst enemy the way some of these people are treating their children.
Yeah. I'm like, you brought them here, and now it is your responsibility. But they act like the kid just showed up by themselves and dared to ask them for help. Like, no, you brought them here. I hate it so much. It's just like never ending.
In addition to Mormonism, us despairing at the state of what people will do to their children are basically our 2 main themes.
Hey,
2 trousers people.
Oh man, the Morms.
The Mormon moms.
I'm trying to think. Have I ingested? Wow. Have I consumed any like more directly Mormon content recently? I haven't.
I
It's a shame.
some Mormon stories.
Your roots.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I probably watched was a video by Jordan and McKay, but I can't remember what it was about.
Oh yeah, I think it was on the Ruby Frankie documentary.
Oh yeah. And they do have another one about this run influencer who from TikTok. who is like Mormon and has this whole group. I was wanting to watch that one. I need to get back to my Mormon spaces.
Get back to your
As a
story.
never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're covering, covering Mormonism. It's a lot. It's a full-time beat.
Yeah.
So.
In 2026, we're going to make our pilgrimage to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I will say this is the other infuriating half of all of this when there's one parent who has custody. It's like, where's the other parent saying anything about any of this? Cough, Kevin, Frankie, cough. But yeah.
I am.
Can't well.
Giving you?
I think that is relatable. Yes, Jess was like, "Oh, I'm greasy," and I'm like, "You mean you're glowing? Look at the beautiful, like it's angelic lighting today."
We just need like some Enya playing in the background, and it'll be.
Can say what
only time I do Enya.
Well, my friend, I think my spoons just ran out. So
yes, I'm gonna make myself a late dinner of it's just chicken tenders I'm gonna put on a salad.
Chicken tendies. Love a chicken tendy.
Yes.
Well, next week I've got people in town, but turn the notifications on. You never know.
You never know
what toot may strike.
Yeah. Next week I may go visit my mother. Maybe.
We'll see.
I also have to file my taxes before Tuesday. Oops.
Oh yeah. I got really close on my expense to revenue ratio this year.
I'm hoping that this MacBook purchase helps me.
That's the thing. I snuck in a couple of camera related purchases at the end of the year. So I only had to pay, I think, like $40.
Oh my God.
Well, I did good this year. I
need to get down a better system because I don't like paying these people money.
I know. I need to do some trending to see what my ratio is year over year and see if I can
Yeah. Well, if you find a solution, what was I going to say? An equation, you let me know.
I think it varies for everyone, and who knows what's happening with taxes now, honestly. Yes. Well,
it was a pleasure tuning you.
Yeah, always a pleasure to serve with you. To get out here in these tabs. Yeah, well, we'll toot again soon. Toot. And drink water, put on your Korean sunscreen while you got it.
And try not to lose your marbles. Keyword try.
We're trying.
Have a sweet treat. You deserve it.
Yeah, have dessert tonight, guys.
Bye.
Bye.